Hi, this is Jeffrey Kerr Financial Group. Today is Monday, July 13, 2026. Can't believe it's almost halfway through July. Very busy week ahead. A quick look at last week. The S&P and NASDAQ were both up a little over 1% on the week. Russell was down a little bit, kind of a mix, but I guess the major S&P and NASDAQ both up. And there wasn't a lot of news last week economically. Obviously, the bombing of Iran resuming was the big news, and over the weekend that continued. Looking ahead, very busy week. Tomorrow on Tuesday, we get CPI, Consumer Price Index, big gauge of inflation. That's going to be closely watched, obviously, as it relates to the oil price coming down. Again, this is going to be June number, so higher oil prices are going to be part of the beginning of the month there. So it'd be interesting to see how this plays out. And then Wednesday is PPI, and that's Producer Price Index, which is the inflation at the manufacturing level, the production level. And then on Friday, we have the options expiration, which brings in some hedging, repositioning, and some dynamics like that could be moving the markets around regardless of what the headlines are. On Thursday, there is retail sales and new home sales. So again, those are some of the economic things going on this week. But the real story is the earnings. Earnings starting tomorrow with the big banks. We've got Bank of America, Citi, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and Wells Fargo all tomorrow. Then on Wednesday, we have BlackRock and Morgan Stanley. So that's the banks get us started and kind of dominate this week. But there are other big important ones. ASML Technology, they're going to be on Wednesday with J&J, Johnson & Johnson. Then on Thursday, there's a real big one, but there's GE Aerospace, Netflix, UNH, United Healthcare, and Taiwan Semi. Taiwan Semi is going to be a huge earnings report because their customers are NVIDIA, they're Apple, Avgo, Broadcom, and Apple. So if Taiwan's doing a lot of sales into that channel, it's a good sign for the rest of technology and for the AI trade. Now, today markets are down. It started last night. The Kospi, the South Korean index, down another 9%. So that's going to be, a worry for this week. Again, as we've been talking about in recent videos, the South Korea market's been back and forth, but mostly down in a big way. And how that is playing into and reflecting and showing what's going on with the chip and technology area. And that could be a warning sign. I think, the overall markets, it's been kind of dicey. We're down on the major indexes for the month of July. And I just think there's some risk out there. I think there's going to be, the market's going to be okay into later in the summer, but we may have some turmoil and some choppiness in July, in the next couple of weeks into July, as we work out this, the indigestion maybe, or the realization that, the AI trade may not be as big and strong as it was expected to be. So we'll follow it. We'll be back on Wednesday. Thank you for listening. Send along any questions. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll be back on Wednesday. Thank you again. Goodbye.